Emeka put on his best suit and got out of his car. He was here to perform at a rich man's party. Emeka wasn't a real prophet, but he was good at pretending. He had learned how to make people believe what he said. The rich man's house was huge and beautiful. Emeka was impressed. The rich man greeted him warmly and took him to a big room filled with people. Emeka started to speak, telling them about good things that would happen to them. The people listened carefully, and they seemed to believe him. But then, Emeka said something that surprised even himself. Be careful, because something big is going to happen. A lot of people will lose money, and it will be very bad. The room fell silent. Emeka wondered if he had said too much.
Well done, Prophet.
But the rich man just smiled and said, Well done, Prophet Emeka. You're really good. Emeka felt relieved, thinking that the party was over. But he didn't know that his words would soon come true, and it would change everything. The next day, Emeka was relaxing at home when he heard the news. A big company in Lagos had gone bankrupt, leaving thousands of people without jobs. Emeka's eyes widened as he listened to the report. It was exactly what he had predicted at the party. At first, Emeka thought it was just a coincidence. But as the day went on, people started calling him, asking for explanations. Prophet Emeka, how did you know this would happen? What do you think will happen next? Emeka was confused and a little scared. He didn't know what to say. When he arrived at his church, the parking lot was full. People were waiting outside, all wanting to talk to him. Emeka's assistant, Ada, greeted him with a mixture of excitement and concern. Prophet Emeka, what's going on? You're getting a lot of attention. People think you're a real prophet. Emeka didn't know what to do. Part of him was happy that people were interested, but another part was warning him that this was trouble. He had been pretending to be a prophet for so long, but now it seemed like people really believed in him. What was he going to do? As he walked into the church, the crowd cheered. Emeka smiled and waved, trying to look confident. But inside, he was wondering how long he could keep up the act. Would he be able to keep pretending, or would the truth come out? Emeka's church was flooded with new followers. People were eager to hear him speak and learn more about his gift. At first, Emeka was hesitant, unsure of how to handle the sudden attention. But as he stood on the pulpit, looking out at the sea of expectant faces, he began to feel a sense of excitement and power. He preached about faith, hope, and resilience, weaving in stories about his prophecy to make it seem like he had known all along. The crowd hung on his every word, and soon, his church was packed to capacity. People were donating generously, and his bank account was swelling. Emeka's fame spread quickly. He was invited to speak at other churches, and his face was plastered on billboards and social media. He was living his dream, but at what cost? He knew he didn't deserve the admiration and adoration. He was a fake, and he was afraid that someone would discover the truth. One evening, as he was leaving the church, a young woman approached him. Prophet Emeka, I just wanted to thank you for your words of encouragement. I've been going through a tough time, and your prophecy gave me hope. Emeka smiled and nodded, feeling a pang of guilt. He wanted to tell her the truth, but he didn't know how. As he walked away, he was stopped by another person, and another, each with their own story and their own expectations. Emeka's smile began to feel forced, and he wondered how long he could keep up the charade. Meanwhile, Ada, his assistant, seemed to be the only one noticing Emeka's growing unease. She approached him after the last meeting of the day. Emeka, are you okay? You seem a bit distant. Emeka hesitated, unsure of how to respond. Should he confide in Ada, or keep pretending that everything was fine? Emeka looked at Ada, searching for a glimmer of suspicion or judgment. But all he saw was concern. I'm just a bit tired, Ada. It's been a long week, he said, trying to brush it off. Ada nodded understandingly. You need to take care of yourself, Emeka. You're not alone in this. I'm here to support you. Her words touched a chord in Emeka's heart. Maybe he could trust Ada. Maybe she could help him navigate this mess. As they walked out of the church, Emeka took a deep breath and decided to confide in Ada. Ada, I need to tell you something. I'm not a real prophet. Ada looked at him curiously, but she didn't interrupt. I was just pretending at first, but now I don't know how to stop. People believe in me, and I'm scared. Ada's expression changed from curiosity to surprise, but she didn't judge him. Emeka, why did you start this in the first place? Emeka sighed, feeling a mix of emotions. I was struggling, Ada. I wanted to be successful, to make a name for myself, but I got in over my head, and now I'm trapped. Ada nodded thoughtfully. We can figure this out, Emeka. But you need to be honest with yourself and with the people. The truth might be hard, but it's better than living a lie. Emeka knew she was right, but the thought of losing everything and everyone was terrifying. As they parted ways, Emeka felt a weight settle on his shoulders. He knew he couldn't keep up the charade forever. The question was, would he find the courage to reveal the truth, or would he continue to live in the shadows of his own deception? Emeka's fame continued to soar, and with it, the expectations of his followers. They wanted miracles, prophecies, and answers to their deepest problems. Emeka did his best to deliver, but it was getting harder and harder to keep up the act. One day, a wealthy businessman approached him with a proposal. Prophet Emeka, I'm willing to donate a large sum of money to your church if you can perform a miracle for my ailing mother. She's been sick for years, and I believe you're the only one who can help her. Emeka was taken aback. He couldn't perform miracles, and he knew it, but the thought of the money and the prestige that came with it was tempting. He hesitated, and the businessman took his silence as a sign of agreement. The next day, Emeka visited the businessman's mother in the hospital. He held her hand, closed his eyes, and prayed, trying to think of something to say that would sound convincing. But as he opened his eyes, he saw the desperation in the woman's eyes, and his conscience got the better of him. I don't know if I can help you, Emeka stammered. The businessman's face fell, and Emeka knew he had to think fast. He couldn't lose this opportunity. But I'll do everything in my power to pray for you, he added, trying to sound confident. As he left the hospital, Emeka felt a wave of guilt wash over him. He knew he was taking advantage of people's desperation, and it was eating away at him. Was the fame and fortune worth it, or was it time to take a step back and reevaluate his life? Emeka's encounter with the businessman's mother had left him feeling uneasy. He couldn't shake off the feeling that he was doing more harm than good. As he stood on the pulpit, preparing to deliver his next sermon, he felt a wave of self-doubt wash over him. What was he doing? Was he truly helping people, or was he just feeding their desperation? The more he thought about it, the more he felt like he was living a lie. He looked out at the sea of expectant faces, and for a moment, he wondered what would happen if he just told them the truth. But the thought was quickly replaced by fear. What would happen to him? Would he lose everything he had worked for? The thought of failure and shame was too much to bear. Emeka pushed his doubts aside and continued with the sermon. But the seed of doubt had been planted. After the service, Ada approached him with a concerned look on her face. Emeka, I've been thinking, maybe it's time we started some community outreach programs. We could use the church's resources to help people in need. Emeka was taken aback. Ada's suggestion was the exact opposite of what he was doing. Instead of helping people, he was exploiting their faith. Ada, that's a great idea, Emeka said, a spark of determination igniting within him. Maybe this was the opportunity he needed to make a real difference. Maybe it was time to leave the fake prophecies behind and start fresh. But could he really change? Or was it too late? Emeka's conversation with Ada had sparked something within him. He began to think seriously about changing his ways and using his platform to genuinely help people. He started by implementing Ada's suggestion, and they began organizing community outreach programs. As they worked together, Emeka noticed the positive impact they were having on people's lives. He saw families receiving food and clothing, children getting educated, and individuals finding hope. For the first time, Emeka felt like he was doing something meaningful. But not everyone was pleased with the changes. Some of Emeka's loyal followers were skeptical of the new direction. Prophet Emeka, why are you wasting time with these programs? We need spiritual guidance. One of them complained. Emeka struggled with the criticism. Part of him wanted to go back to the old ways, to the adoration and the easy money. But another part of him knew that this was the path he needed to take. One day, Emeka received a visit from the businessman's mother, the same woman he had prayed for earlier. She came to thank him, not for the prayer, but for the kindness and support he had shown her family through the outreach program. Emeka was touched by her words, and it was a turning point for him. He realized that he didn't need to pretend to be someone he wasn't. He could make a real difference, and that's what truly mattered. Emeka knew he had a long way to go, but he was ready to take the first step towards redemption. Emeka knew he couldn't keep up the charade any longer. He decided to confess the truth to his congregation. His heart racing, he stepped up to the pulpit and took a deep breath. Friends, I have something important to tell you. I've been pretending to be something I'm not. I'm not a prophet. and I've been deceiving you." The room fell silent, and Emeka could feel the weight of their disappointment. Some people looked shocked, others looked angry, and some just looked sad. Emeka explained how he had started as a struggling individual, seeking fame and fortune, and how he got caught up in the hype. He apologized for his deception and told them about his decision to use his platform for good. The reaction was mixed. Some people were furious, feeling betrayed by Emeka's lies. Others were understanding, seeing the genuine remorse in his eyes. Ada, who had been standing at the back, walked forward and stood beside Emeka, supporting him. Emeka knew he might lose everything, but he felt a sense of relief wash over him. He had finally told the truth, and it felt liberating. But what would happen next? Would they forgive him, or would he be cast out? The days that followed Emeka's confession were tough. Some people demanded refunds, while others called for him to step down. The media had a field day, and Emeka's name was everywhere. Emeka felt like he was losing everything he had worked for. But amidst the chaos, something remarkable happened. A small group of people, including Ada, stood by Emeka, supporting him through the storm. They saw the genuine remorse in his eyes and believed that he was truly sorry. As the dust began to settle, Emeka realized that he had a chance to start anew. He couldn't change the past, but he could work towards a better future. With Ada's help, he began to rebuild his church, focusing on the community outreach programs that had brought him so much joy. It wasn't easy, and there were still those who didn't trust him. But Emeka was determined to prove himself one step at a time. He poured his heart and soul into the programs, working tirelessly to make a positive impact on his community. Slowly but surely, people began to see the change in Emeka. They saw the sincerity in his eyes, and they began to trust him again. The church started to flourish, not because of fake prophecies, but because of the real difference Emeka was making in people's lives. Emeka's story was far from over. He still had a long way to go, but for the first time in a long time he felt like he was on the right path. It had been a year since Emeka's confession, and his church was thriving. The community outreach programs had grown, and Emeka had become a respected figure in the community. He had proven that he was more than just a fake prophet. He was a man who had made mistakes but was determined to make a difference. Emeka stood on the pulpit, looking out at the crowd of people who had gathered to celebrate the church's anniversary. He felt a sense of pride and gratitude as he looked at the faces of the people he had come to care for. "Today, I want to thank each and every one of you for giving me a second chance," Emeka said, his voice filled with emotion. "I was lost, but you welcomed me back with open arms. I promise to continue serving this community with honesty and integrity." The crowd erupted in applause, and Emeka smiled, feeling a sense of peace wash over him. He knew he still had challenges ahead, but he was ready to face them head-on. As the service came to a close, Emeka looked out at the crowd and saw the businessman's mother, the one he had prayed for, standing in the back. She smiled at him, and Emeka felt a sense of joy. He had made mistakes, but he had also made a difference. Emeka stepped down from the pulpit and was mobbed by well-wishers. He hugged Ada, who had stood by him throughout the journey. "Thank you for believing in me," he said, his voice choked with emotion. As the crowd dispersed, Emeka looked up at the sky, feeling a sense of hope and renewal. He knew he would continue to make mistakes, but he was ready to learn from them and keep moving forward. And so, Emeka's story came full circle. He had found redemption, and he had found a new purpose. He was no longer a fake prophet, but a man who was making a difference one step at a time.